JT, what do you know about the genre of synthwave?
I mean, I'm really new to that genre. So
Okay, well, here's the thing about synthwave. It has a retro feel to it.
Mhm.
That's the thing. They use a lot of the instrumentation and a lot of like the synth settings from like back in the 80s, and sometimes in the early 90s, and they retool it and remake it and basically pay tribute to the 80s and to like that era.
Mhm.
So there's a group that me and Chad learned of them before I did, but me and Chad have known about them for some time. They're called The Midnight, and I've seen them live. And they, funny enough, they actually passed us up in subscriber count last year, and I pretended to be mad about it. I was like, oh, I can't believe they passed us up in terms of, but I don't care. I love these guys. Like, they're both amazing. Basically, it's two songwriters that met up at a songwriting convention. One of them is from Atlanta, Georgia. One is from Denmark, I believe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's Danish, and the other one's from the U.S. And they basically met up and said, hey, we both like this synthwave stuff. Let's team up and let's write stuff together. And then they started, I think it was like 2009 when they started. And then they started honing it over the next few years, and then eventually they released their first EPs. And in like the late 2010s and early 2020s, they really started to find their voice and find like the stuff that works for them.
Mhm.
And I know there's a lot of people out there who will have like their favorite song by them. Like I know that Los Angeles, Sunset, like there's a lot of songs out there by them. And everyone has their favorite. This one is my favorite. By far. Every time I hear this song, this is a night drive song, dude.
Oh,
you know those songs that, when you're just driving alone on the streets and you just feel like you want to listen to something that just puts you in a mood to just drive?
Yep.
This is one of them. I hear this one, and there's a part in it, I just have to hit the accelerator every time. Every time. I remember, actually, there's been several times I've had, like, music perfectly sync up for me whenever, like, big moments happen. The one that happened the most recently, I was listening to Freebird on the way home from the wrestling show. On the way home from the wrestling show, I started Freebird, and I was just like, screw it, I haven't listened to Freebird in a while. Since I started it, I looked up at the mile marker, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like 4 miles away from the exit where I merge back onto the interstate. Oh my God. There's a chance. And I get there, and I get there, and it's like, Lord, I can't change. And as soon as that happens, I get onto the exit to get on the exit. Lord, I can't change. Won't you fly high, free bird, yeah. And right as I get to the bottom of the ramp, gunned it. I got up to like 110 miles an hour. Holy shit. I couldn't help myself, dude. It was so perfect. Then there was another one, it was a few years ago. I Can Feel It Coming in the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. You know the part. Dude, yes! Holy shit! Oh, that right there. It was right as I got onto the on-ramp at exit 7, and it was like as soon as I turn in, visions of you and me, and then just accelerated going up that hill, and there was no traffic in front of me. I was just like, yes! So good!
Oh man!
And this song, I've had it with it like a time or two, but this is The Midnight Vampires. It's a song that I love. It was one of the first songs I listened to by The Midnight. Me and Chad were just listening to them on like a randomized playlist.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I heard this, I was just like, oh damn! And I want to know what you think.
All right.
So here we go. This is The Midnight Vampires. Gotta put both cans on for this one.
Ooh.
jokes they didn't quite hear. Frosted window panes and cheap champagne, a face appears. And anything could
Yeah.
happen in these cathedrals we roam, where shadow people dance and trade their glance and walk home alone. Staring out the window of the Roosevelt Hotel, watching Midtown empty out and a kiss of farewell. They say we come from nothing and to nothing we'll return, and in between is gravity and bridges left to burn.
Damn. Wow.
Well,
Okay. That was awesome.
okay.
So, little known fact you may not know this about me. I fall asleep listening to like vaporwave compilations
Okay.
quite often.
Yeah.
Especially like the Outlast
Yes.
type.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the vibe I got from that was. But what really drew me in was not only the instrumentals, the vocals.
Yes.
And the lyrics.
Yeah.
Like,
Tyler, the vocalist, he is a supremely talented lyricist and draws on so much inspiration from just like his childhood growing up, his experiences living as a struggling artist in New York, like being in apartment buildings where the electricity wouldn't work half the time, and like random people would knock at his door and like just be like trying to find out if like someone was home so they could rob the place and shit like that. And he basically just like talks about that. He talked about that at the live show that I went to, and the dude he's a very down to earth kind of guy.
He seems like, just from his vocals and his lyrics, like you can tell he's heartfelt.
Yes.
Very, very much so.
He's a very emotionally in touch person.
Yes.
That's something that I always loved about his lyrics and about his like composition, because he does like the instrumentation. Him and Tim do like the instrumentation like together, and you know a lot of the lyrics. Tim does occasionally contribute, but Tim mainly focuses on like the final mix, like getting, because you know the instrumentation is just part of it. The final mix and getting everything like put together cohesively and like in like getting it sound like sonically sounding so good. Tim's a master of that. Whereas Tyler's just like a guy who just is like really like in touch emotionally with like how the song makes you feel.
Yeah.
And basically just wants to like emphasize with his lyrics how this is making him feel. And heck, there's some songs they make where he doesn't really have lyrics for it, and he just releases it as is because he still feels like something about it. It's just he doesn't trust himself to add lyrics to it that can enhance the experience.
I get that.
It's just like, well, instrumentals, I mean, like Orion from Metallica. I mean,
yeah.
if you tried to add lyrics to that, it wouldn't work.
No.
And that's the thing, is like some songs work better as instrumentals, and the Midnight, like Tyler and Tim know exactly how that is. You know, they know like what to avoid to like ruin a song, and I feel like they're really in tune with like the style that they have. They basically have mastered it.
Yeah, it was really something. Now, was the animation, like the video, was that from an actual
That is from
anime?
an actual anime. They actually got the licensing to use that for their music video.
Okay.
So that's the thing, is like, I looked it up, and it's like an old anime from the 80s. It's basically about this dude who's like a paranormal hunter. Like he hunts for like paranormal beings, and some of them are like the woman he was in bed with, like he got in bed with in the beginning. She is she's like a spider succubus.
Okay.
And her transformation's horrifying.
Oh.
I saw like the part of that. I was like, ooh, damn.
Well, I mean, like the animation drew me back to like thinking of, you know, Akira.
Yes.
And
Well, that's that era, dude. That's that late 80s era, like anime. It was in its flux of its own, and like you had all these amazing creators, like with all these new digital tools that could just like pump out stuff at like such a high rate. And then, you know, Akira is seen as like the pure like precipice of that. It's seen as like the peak of Japanese animation from that era. Like every era of Japanese animation has their watershed moment, and that's one of them.
I mean, dude, all the way around, like, thank you for showing me that, because I'll be putting that on repeat tomorrow at work. So that
it's the once again, dude. My favorite comments are about the saxophone.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, I'm a dude. That saxophone just made me pregnant, and it owes me alimony.
Yeah.
I've heard some comments, and I'll say this: live, it sounds just as good. Live, like these guys are just so like talented. Like they have like great touring musicians with them as well. You know, because Tyler and Tim can't do everything by themselves, and the musicians they have with them, including Alana, who Nick has a huge crush on. She's like she's an instrumentalist that works with them. She mainly plays bass and guitar on some songs, and she plays keyboard on others. And she's like all around, like they have great people working with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 2 horns way up for me on this one, even though it's not metal. That was incredible.
Yeah, that's still like worthy of the double horns. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that there. That will make officially 10 songs.
Yep.
That is the official 10th song that is in the double horn section here.
Yep.
So yeah, the Midnight is officially the 10th song in that, and I'm glad you enjoyed it, dude, because I wasn't sure how you'd feel about it. Me, I know, like, I love this song. This song has a special place in my heart, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
Dude,
I'm glad that you liked it, and they have a litany of this stuff. This is like, they have a huge, like, they have multiple albums of stuff like this. Like, they have, their full playlists from, like, all their different, they have, like, this is their first one, Days of Thunder, Endless Summer, Nocturnal, Kids, Monsters, they also have instrumentals, Horror Show, which was one of their, that was an album that a lot of people didn't like, but I don't understand why. It was I thought that there's one on there called Neon Medusa that I loved so much.
Yeah.
And there's others that if y'all want us to hear, I mean, feel free to let us know in the comments, because, more Midnight ain't going to be no problem to me, because I love these guys.
Well, I'll say this in closing for the saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
That saxophone could give me a grand mal seizure, and I would sit there and take it.
Wow, okay. No, that's a recommendation that y'all can take to the bank right there.
You go.
Okay, so everyone, thank you all so much for tuning in. And until next time, I'm Nate.
I'm JT.
Be good people. Take care. Peace.